Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be learning how to take DALL-E 3's engine here and integrate it into Zapier. As we know, the image quality when it comes to DALL-E 3 is tremendously better than what we have access to with Zapier right now, but we can still go ahead and leverage it. Just to give you some quick use cases on our Instagram, we're using the technology now. And as you see from our 4 most recent posts, we've used different prompts here. We are getting higher quality images here, and they're really, really cool here. On top of that, it can also do text in the images now. Super cool stuff. Let's go and jump in. So before we jump in fully, just so you can get an idea of where to get DALL-E prompts, if you're not familiar with how to structure prompts in the context of image generation, we can go to a website called PromptBase here. Here's our account. We do more stuff on GBT stuff. We're going to go ahead and go to Marketplace here. We're going to go ahead and change it. So we are going to the model of Dalle here. We're going to do the number 3. I'm going to go to zoom in here for y'all. And then from here, you can go ahead and just start searching, find a prompt you like, as we're going to be using one of the prompts I found here in today's video. And I'm going to show you how to make really complex prompts become automated with Zapier and this DALL-E 3 engine. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. If you're not familiar with the Zapier platform, go and check out that video right here. I show you how to basically, it's a 40-minute plus long video, everything you need to know about Zapier's automation platform and OpenAI's API when it comes to usage and cost. You can check out that video. But we're going to go ahead and start here. We're just going to say create new Zapier. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to do a API request. Although it might sound scary, it's actually really, really simple. So I'm going to go ahead and just change this real quick to DALL-E 3 automation. And our use case is we're going to show you how to do it to your Instagram automatically. You can do it to any other platform. So in theory, I could do this to maybe like Twitter and stuff of this nature using Buffer as a way to access that API. From here, though, we're going to go ahead and set up a trigger. In this context, we'll do a schedule. So maybe like every once a week, we want to send a new DALL-E post to our Instagram. We're gonna do every week here, day of the week. Let's just say something to do Monday, and we can choose our time here. So for us, we're gonna go ahead and just choose noon. Quick little side tip here: if you use paths, you can really create some really complex flows when it comes to posting every single day. I believe I did a video on this. It's like showing you the top 4 social media scheduler stuff when it comes to Zapier and automation. So you check that out. But from now, we're going to go ahead and proceed with what we want here. So I'm going to go ahead and test this trigger here, and it'll just give us some, pseudo data that basically it's not going to trigger because today's Saturday, while alternatively the trigger is going to be Monday. Knowing that though, we can go ahead and keep proceeding here. So just so we can jump to the meat here. So if you're really here just for the DALL-E and the integration, I'll show you how to do that right now. And then you can stay a little longer if you want to see how we do a full-fledged post with an automatic AI generated caption, hashtags, and other relevant information when it comes to automation for building out a profile like this. For now though, let's go ahead and just jump into the main thing that you're probably here for, which is going to be the API request beta. So we're going to go ahead and do this. This allows us to access certain models found within OpenAI that aren't natively integrated into Zapier yet. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit continue, and then we're going to go ahead and set this up together. Before we do that, let's go ahead and jump over to the documentation. So as you see here, this is the DALL-E 3 engine here, and this is how we create a request. So it's very simple. The code is here. And then on top of that, you might be asking yourself, okay, what is like certain variables found here? As you see here, there's different variables that we can add as different query parameters. So if I come down here, let's see if I can find it. Well, clicking this, I'm gonna leave both in the description so you can kind of search yourself. If I click this cookbook, it kind of goes into more details. So if I come down here, as you see, we have a couple of different options here. So obviously we have our model. We're going to be choosing DALL-E 3 today. We have our style between natural and vivid. You're going to see how we can edit that today. I personally believe vivid looks way better comparative to what we were used to. Then we have our quality. Obviously, we'll probably go with HD. Furthermore, we have other stuff such as the prompt, which is very important. As you'll see, the number of images, typically we'll just do 1. And it looks like for DALL-E 3, actually 1 is the only supported amount. Another really cool thing to take note of is now we can do different sizes. So as you see here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, y'all. Sorry about that. As you see here, we can do sizes of 256 by 256, 512 by 512. Really cool. We can do horizontal dimensions now or vertical dimensions now with these different ones. So do that as you will. That's really cool, the DALL-E 3 model. Then we have a response format. Don't worry about that. You'll see how we do that. And user, not too important. So knowing this, let's go and set up a prompt in Zapier. To do so, we're going to do a request. They used to have custom requests in Zapier, but it looks like they stopped. We're going to do a request to post. Why we're doing posts is because we're basically accessing OpenAI's API in the back end and be like, hey, knock, knock, we need a DALL-E 3 image. From here, we're going to go ahead and use this URL. So I'm going to make sure I try to leave this in the description as down below as well. Or I make it as, actually, for this, I'm going to leave it as a comment. So search through the comments, maybe give it a thumbs up to help other people out. I'm going to leave it as a comment so you can kind of see the structure in this API request. So it's going to be this URL here. And then for our query string parameters, we're actually going to do nothing here. We don't have to worry about that. For additional headers, though, we do need to add a very specific request on the type of data we're receiving, and we need it to be coming as JSON, as the way we communicate when it comes to webhooks and API calls and stuff of this nature is with JSON in the context of Zapier. Therefore, we need to add an additional request header to make sure that the content that we're receiving can be read with this as a JSON, because we're sending it as a JSON payload. So for the actual body itself, this is very, very simple. So all we need to do here is I'm going to go ahead and just copy this over here real quick. All right, so that's all we need to do for the JSON payload here. So we're going to have the model, which is DALL 3. We're going to have the prompt, which we're going to do together right now. We're going to have the amount of image generated, but as you saw, it can only do one right now. So we're going to do one. The size, Instagram can handle 1024 by 1024. So we're going to do this 1024 by 1024. The style, which was between natural and vivid, I will say do vivid. Maybe in this video, I'll even show you the difference because it actually is pretty obvious. And then we have the quality, HD, good to go. And honestly, let's go ahead and just start this video off by showing the difference between vivid and natural, and this will make a lot of sense. So we're going to say a dog on top of a ice cream cone. So from my understanding of basically the idea that I kind of got from this was natural seems kind of like the earlier model. It's a little more messy, and vivid seems like the newer model where it looked really cool and a lot more high quality. All right, so scrolling down here, if we come all the way to the bottom, our payload that we care about, because it's going to be the actual image itself, is going to be the URL. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and then open a new tab. Okay, so this is the version as natural. It does look better than the original model, of course, but let me show you what this looks like as vivid. So I'm going to come back over to our Zapier here. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to put in vivid instead and leave everything else the exact same. I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to retest this step. And personally, I prefer vivid as a style, but you can go ahead and proctor how you want. So that is vivid. As you see, personally, this looks a lot better to me. Obviously, it's up to your preference, but before you click off, if you just came for that, there's actually a little bit of nuance here, as there's going to be certain stuff you need to do in order to ensure that you don't run into errors when it comes to automation, basically. So stay tuned for that. But for now, you've officially found out how to use a DALL 3 engine within Zapier and automation. Let's go ahead and do an entire post here and get a full idea with a more complex prompt that has variables in it. Therefore, we can have creativity and randomness at scale. So from here, we're going to go ahead and add our next step. So this step is its use case is going to be getting the specific variables for our prompt. Therefore, at scale, we can have it so that every single image generated isn't going to just be a dog on an ice cream cone. So from here, we're going to do an event of conversation, and then we're going to go ahead and proctor a specific user message here. And the prompt we're going to be using today is going to be this one. And as you see, this prompt is pretty complex due to the fact that we're dealing with, you have to identify a scene, the text you want to use in the scene, whether the text is at the top or the bottom, the letter style, and finally the color of the background. And we're going to do that all together right now. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this prompt. I'm going to come over here, and just so you can get an idea of what we're doing here, here's some examples of what the prompt does. All right, come over here. I'm going to go ahead and input this prompt here. So for now, we're not going to have any variables, but we're going to be using this prompt. So I'm going to Command V it, and there we go. So far, so good. If you feel like you learned something so far, make sure to leave a like. It's completely free. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see other types of automations in this context or what you're looking for to do in Zapier and AI or just Zapier in general. But without further ado, let's continue here. So here is how we're going to go ahead and prompt this. The idea behind this is we know that we're using a prompt, which use case is a t-shirt design, right? So why not use that in our logic? So whatever the logic of your prompt is, we're going to go ahead and follow the same type of idea when we communicate with GPT. So our logic here is this: context, identify what we're doing here. We're generating a t-shirt design and providing the following content. We need the scene, the text, whether the text is top or bottom, letter style, and color. So we've identified the variables we need. For the variables requested in the output, just generate the requested outputs. So this ensures that we are just getting this. There's no additional text here, and then don't repeat past outputs. And the way we ensure that we're not repeating past outputs is that we'll add a memory key here. So memory key is a random string of 32 characters, ensuring consistent outputs, and in this context, making it random for us. So what's really cool here is that you have the choice between 3.5 and 4. 3.5 is a little simpler minded, 4 is more complex. I'll be honest with you, 3.5 works in this context, 4 works in this context a little bit better. So choose whatever you will. If you don't have access to 4 yet, 3.5 totally works. So I'm actually going to use this and we're going to go ahead and do 3.5 here and I'm going to make sure it works. So everyone that wants to use 3.5, it is a cheaper model, can get access to it. So I'm going to do 3.5 here and let's see what our first output is. We may need to proctor a little bit further. As you see here, this first output was complete trash. So we're going to have to do a little bit further here. So here's what we're going to do. We're generating a t-shirt design. Please don't the content. We'll first do this. I don't like brackets in it. You don't want to have special characters in this context because this could mess up the way we access the API when we're sending it to OpenAI. So I'm going to first do this. Delete these special brackets. And as you'll see here, you'll learn more why this is important as we continue here. So what we got in the output, just generate the requested outputs. No text before or after. Okay. And then I'm going to add a 1 here so we can refresh the memory key here. I'm going to continue here and I'm going to test this step again. So I'm going to go ahead and just debug this with you so you can learn how to prompt engineer. You can have better aspects. And there we go. It already worked perfectly how we wanted. So we got the scene, beach vibes, bottom, bold and blocky, and aqua blue. A couple of things I want to add here though. First thing I want to add here is this. Let's not use capitals. It's not necessary. So we're going to do scene, text, and we're going to leave everything else the same here. And because we had a consistent output, I'm going to try this again here and see if it can maintain that kind of structuring and proceed. So this works well. We got our underlying scene, text, top, bottom, and everything of that nature. Now here's the most important thing you need to understand is we need to add a filter block here. A formatter block. Why are we adding a formatter block? Is because we need to ensure that there is certain special characters that don't show up in this context as they can actually hurt the prompt, and you'll see why later. I'm going to hit text here. I'm going to continue here. I'm going to hit replace. And in this specific context, a lot of times when you're dealing with GPT in this realm, you're going to see a lot of quotation marks. So we're going to take the reply of that output, and we're going to find the quotation marks, and we're going to relieve it with empty space. In this context, we're just removing those quotation marks there. Therefore, that doesn't cause an issue in our underlying prompt. Okay, perfect. We have officially now created our variables for our Dalle prompt. So the next thing we need to do, because of the fact that this variable is one single data point, therefore we can't actually input it into our Dalle prompt. As you see here, if I went ahead and said, okay, I want to add my text, come over here, and then I go to the text formatter, it's one data point. That doesn't work in this context. So what we need to do next is we need to add another formatter block. So if you aren't familiar with what formatter blocks are, this UI wise, this is really nice. In reality, this is just JavaScript. So I'm going to go ahead and hit text here again. And we're going to go ahead and do an event of split. Also, I want to point out is if you're watching this video or you plan on watching videos later this week, you're probably going to see me in the same sweater here as I am traveling for Thanksgiving. Therefore, I'm basically shooting 7 videos or 6 videos in one day. So no, I didn't wear the same shirt every single day. From here, though, we're going to go ahead and do output. We're going to do a separator of new line new line, I believe. So what this is nomenclature used by Zapier here. You can click here if you want more documentation on that. What it allows us to do though is separate the data into separate fields, therefore allowing us to input that into our Dalle prompt and have different data points here. So we got all our data points associated with our Dalle prompt here. Let's go ahead and continue here, and we're gonna go ahead and not do our caption yet. Let's go ahead and do this. We're gonna go delete this, and just so I can show you that it works, we're gonna add our relevant information here. So for your scene, we're going to go ahead and add, I'm sorry, y'all, it's in the corner because this is Zapier's new UI for this kind of stuff. It's kind of hard. It doesn't let me expand it further here. So I kind of have to, come at this angle. All right. So for your scene, let me go ahead and just do this real quick. We're going to go ahead and add our text formatter here. And we're going to come over here. So we're going to choose scene. There we go. Make sure to get rid of the curly brackets, no special characters. For your text, we're going to go ahead and remove those quotation marks. And we're going to do text here. And notice how text is already in the output, so we can remove text here. Also, I want to point out, create a high quality illustration of best-selling t-shirt. Sometimes you don't want to have it too specific here. So what we're going to do here is best-selling design. So it doesn't come out as a t-shirt every time. Rather, we want the design that's supposed to be on the t-shirt. And then as you see here, top or bottom, I'm going to come back over here, and we're going to go ahead and choose top, bottom, top. And then for letter style here, we're going to go ahead and choose old and modern. And then finally for the color background, we will choose deep forest green. Now I want to point out a couple things here. First thing I want to point out here is what you'll notice is the way that DALL 3 interprets prompts is a little bit different than DALL 2. As DALL 3 is actually going to take this as more of a device rather than the specific things it's going to use in the API. So what I mean by that is that it will look at this and create its own version of the prompt that it think is more optimized. For this was, let me retest again because this was the dog prompt again. Let me go ahead and retest this again. So as you see here, this is their version of it, and they have their revised prompt. So that's why you can get away with not having perfect dictation within the underlying prompt itself, as it doesn't read perfectly, but DALL 3 is smart enough to understand to revise the prompt here and then provide us with our underlying, and you see right here, provide us with our underlying image here. So let's go check it out. And there you go. It was able to get the exact dictation of Adventure Awaits with the exact design we wanted here, right? So it's perfect. That is what we like here. So if you feel like you learned something up to this point as well, make sure to leave a like. But we're going to keep going here. We're going to go ahead and add it so we can automatically create an Instagram caption associated with this. So we're going to do a ChatGPT block here. With this ChatGPT block, we're going to choose an event of conversation, as this is going to allow us to have more ability to leverage prompt engineering rather than using their kind of build a block versions. So I'm going to do a user message here. And this is going to be really dependent on however you want to proceed with this kind of context. For us, we kind of have this pre-built prompt here. I'm going to add and 3 hashtags. But this is going to be whatever is dependent on the type of style you want on your IG caption. For us, I'm going to make it simple for myself and say write one social media caption based on this piece of art. We'll call the design piece of art. And then for me, I'm just going to choose one of these. And I'm going to say, you know what? Let's choose the scene because the scene is the most relevant to what's occurring there. I typically like raising the model to GPT-4 in this context to have a little bit more, oomph to the caption here. Add a random memory key here. And let's go ahead and test this output. So with our new output here, it is specific and unique to our underlying design. But you'll notice we have those nasty little quotation marks again. So all we're going to do is come to formatter block here. And we are going to remove them by doing the text, replace, quotation marks. So I'm going to do replace here. And let's say continue. Input is going to be that reply. Scrolling down here. And we're going to find those quotation marks because unless you want quotation marks in your Instagram caption, that's up to you. There we go. And then finally, we're going to do a last step here. So we're going to go to Instagram. And actually, because I kind of want to test this again, let me go ahead and retest this. Let's try some new variables here. Let's get a different type of design. Okay, so we got this new design here. I'm going to come over. And what you'll notice is that through testing, though, you have to retest every step up to the point again. Obviously, you don't have to do this during automation. But this is purely because, the data isn't automatically passed post block. So I'm going to go ahead and retest this. We should get a new design here based off a starry night with the text saying, if I can find it, wherever the text is, let's go ahead and copy this and see what this looks like. Actually, let's not. Let's make it a surprise. Let's go ahead and jump over to Instagram and you're going to do Instagram for business. It's the only way you can publish posts. We're going to do an event of publish photo, API request. That's interesting. That's new. I might need to do more stuff on that. Publish photo, choose your account. Once you've chosen your account here, we're going to put our photo here. So in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and type in our search field here, URL. URL is going to be associated with the response data URL. Basically, when we sent that request, what was the response data we got associated with the request? And that's going to be our image that we care about. Our caption is going to be that text formatted caption that we created here. Make sure to choose the formatted version, not the reply version, so we don't have those quotation marks. And now what's really cool here is we can actually tag users automatically as well. So maybe there's someone in your niche you want to keep tagging on your post and let them know that you exist. There we go. On top of that, we could do location. But from here, we're going to go ahead and continue and test this step. So we are sending that to Instagram. Let's go jump over to IG real quick. All right, so it was sent. Jumping over to IG. There we go. It did have this little thing, which is kind of interesting. But as you see, we got dream big, shine bright, and we got a nice little IG post. What's great about this as well is I should be able to share this entire Zap in the description down below so you can add it directly to your Zapier account. But today we have officially discovered how to use DALL 3 in the context of Zapier and automations. If you like today's video, make sure to subscribe. We're giving daily content here to help you leverage artificial intelligence in the context of business and personal life. I do other stuff other than automation tutorials. I do stuff showing you how to use AI models to really get you more productive in the way you access work life and stuff of this nature. But if you want to see more content in regards to automation and AI, you can check out a playlist at the end here as we're diving into all 5,000 apps when it comes to Zapier and seeing how to leverage every single one. Without further ado, y'all, I'll see you in the next video.
Thanks for tuning in. And yes, surprise, I'm an AI avatar. Make sure to explore more here at Corbin AI, where we demystify AI for your personal and business life. Until next time.